He is eventually stopped by the Power Rangers, who broke Rita's spell over him. When he came to, Tommy realized all the damage he had done, and he suffered really bad mentally from the aftermath. But Jason assured him that it was only because of Rita's spell. Tommy decided to join the Power Rangers as their 6th Ranger, much to the confusion of the citizens of Angel Grove. Despite their welcome, Tommy continues to feel like an outsider and is constantly haunted by Rita's presence. Before long, Scorpina infiltrates his home, attempting to retrieve the Green Ranger's power coin, but is unsuccessful when Tommy manages to expel her from his home with his communicator. In another battle, he gets completely overwhelmed by Scorpina and her putty patrollers until the other Rangers show up in the nick of time to rescue him. Despite having survived the battle, the stress on his body from this fight, as well as Rita's continuous influence, causes him to spontaneously lose consciousness and to experience vivid hallucinations. Trini requests a power scan be performed on him, revealing a strong visual difference between his power and the other 5. He reveals the truth to the others about his frequent Rita hallucinations, causing both Jason and Zack to become distrustful. Amidst their discussion, Scorpina appears again, this time taking control of the Dragon Zord to attack the city. Tommy is forbidden by Jason to enter the battle, but he and the other Rangers are overwhelmed when a shark monster appears to fight them. Tommy begins to understand that the visions he'd had only had strength over him because he allowed them to. He had not even been trusting himself. So realizing this, he is finally able to overcome them and teleports into the battle in an attempt to regain control of the Dragon Zord. Though it resists the song of the Dragon Dagger, he breaks through the cockpit window and destroys the golden Dragon Dagger along with the jewel which acted as its power source. He is then able to regain control of the Dragon Zord, allowing the Megazord to take down the shark monster. Upon return to the command center, the discussion over his role in the team reignites. With tempers flaring particularly between Zack and Jason, the conversation is brought to an abrupt end when the crystal brought into the command center explodes, damaging both Zordon and Alpha 5. Not long after finally getting over Rita's evil influence and the remaining after effects, Tommy had to learn of an evil alternate version of himself named Lord Draken, that in his world had been killing other Rangers and taking over the world, a lot to deal with after everything he'd just been through. He had to have an internal battle with himself to understand if that was something this version of him was capable of. Then, after a fairly long and fantastic storyline that follows Draken taking on the Coinless, which is essentially a group of resistance fighters led by surviving Rangers without their power coins, Tommy confronts Draken. Speaking of how friendship is weakness and Tommy's friends will eventually fail him when he needs them most, Tommy refuses to listen and battles Draken. After Tommy's friends find him, rather than face defeat, Draken jumps off a cliff to what Tommy believes to be his death. That is not true though, and is later revealed that Grace Sterling's Promethea had actually captured him and were holding him prisoner. When Lord Draken later escaped Promethea's custody, Tommy and Jason both confronted Grace Sterling with the revelation that she had held Lord Draken without them knowing. As the Power Rangers try to prepare for anything Draken might do, he and Kimberly have a heart-to-heart talk about recent events and agreed to a date. However, the date ends on a bad note when Kimberly rebuffs Tommy's attempt at a goodnight kiss. As Kimberly realizes that she really did want the kiss and tries to go back for it, Tommy is kicking himself over such an action. As he is ambushed by a repowered Draken, running him through the back with Saba and absorbing his power to supercharge the Green Chaos Crystal. Kimberly arrives, followed by time-traveling Jen Scotts, only to be helpless as Draken escapes and Tommy dies in Kimberly's arms. Despite the Rangers' attempts to revive Tommy, Zordon is forced to admit defeat and recognise that Tommy is lost to them. The Rangers are forced to return Tommy to the alleyway where he was struck down and let the world know he was gone. His time as a Power Ranger was left unknown and the Dragon Coin was passed down to Jason. Even more, when Jen revives from her brief coma, she sadly tells the team that there's no way to travel back in time to save Tommy due to the damage done by Lord Draken. Draken sends the Ranger Slayer to eliminate the Mighty Morphin in their timeline, but mistakenly sent her to the past present where Tommy is yet to be a Ranger. In his first appearance, the past present Tommy is seen training in the gym, but is under attack by the Ranger Slayer. This version of Tommy thought she was trying to kill him. However, Ranger Slayer, who is now freed from Draken's control by her past present, uses her opportunity to change his original future present self's fate, giving him a second chance to live by implementing the improved green crystal energy implanted in her arrows with a single shot without killing him, giving him a vision to prevent his fated death like his future present self had, eventually trapping his soul within the time and space instead of dying. Yes, I know that's quite confusing. When Draken finally obtained the final third evolution and stole the heart of the Master from the Emissaries 3, then destroyed all realities and rewrote them into one where Draken became a supreme-like figure, Tommy, as a Spectre, began to haunt Draken, taunting him and telling him that he knows this world is wrong and that he's a pathetic man for creating it. This allows his grip on the world to weaken enough for Tommy to resurrect himself and rescue the emissaries before rescuing his teammates, including Jen and Lauren, with a fragment implanted by Kimberly from Draken's former world. As Tommy gathers the team along with Jen and Lauren, they are soon found by Draken, leading to a titanic struggle that ends with Tommy grabbing the heart of the Master. The two are pulled inside the heart, and the two briefly battle before Tommy defeats him, telling him that the reason he lost was because he couldn't stomach the idea that, in an entire multiverse of Tommys, he was the only one who was evil. When Draken pulled away from the heart, he began to fall apart. Tommy offered him a chance to save him, but Draken refused, staying with his broken world as it collapsed around him, ending this threat once and for all. With that, Tommy returns the broken heart to the emissaries and all realities are restored. He and Kimberly share their last kiss before restoration is complete, meaning it may erase almost all memories relating to the Shattered Grid events. Following the events of